talked about slowing down something, almost the sale of the homes. But I think, I would guess what they want is they want the citizens to be able to have control of their HOA.
Correct. There's a second minor amendment that I don't know if Jeff has reviewed and approved it yet, but it specifically addresses that there is no requirement for Shell Point to join the Venetian Bay HOA.
Okay, so
There's no requirement for Shell Point Colony Master Association or associations to merge into the Venetian Bay HOA, and there is no requirement to provide voting rights to residents of Shell Point
Okay, so
Colony.
so if I understood, what they didn't want is for Shell Point to come in and dilute what they're already getting ground on.
Correct.
And as you read the MDA, there is no requirement or nothing spoken to that is going to come. That Shell Point will come in and dilute what what they already have. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, with that, and now on point of order, we're looking for a motion to extend, and if we don't get a motion, we will be adjourned.
Motion to extend.
Second.
Second, and this, for clarity, is, what do we get, Vice Mayor?
15.
30 minutes?
15 minutes.
It's 15. You do two motions for
We get 15 minutes? Okay,
Two motions for 15.
got
And
it.
then it gets dicey.
Very good. Okay, we have a motion to extend for 15. Is there a second?
Second.
Acting City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perrine,
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner McGurk, I think you have more questions?
No, I'm done, thank you.
Very good. Commissioner Martin.
One point about the setbacks. They were basically mirrored the Venetian Bay PUD and used the same standards. But if you're concerned about not having enough driveway length, the 17 and a half feet is for living and porches. And then specific to the garages, so the parking area in front of the garage has to be, that's the 22 and a half feet. So that would allow for.
So there's 2 on the pad and then consider 2 in the garage.
Right.
But that hasn't worked. We know that's broken.
Right.
And it's not your fault, it's not the developer's fault. That's something that we need to deal with going forward in the land development regulations and PUDs. But we can't, that's not for something tonight. I just want to point out, we're continuing the same.
For new
What we know is
PUDs.
going to be a continuous problem.
It'll be an issue for fixable and new PUDs. Commissioner Martin.
Okay, one gentleman brought up a really good point. While you've given us promises to do the parks and amenities before you get the COs for Phase 3, we have yet to delineate what those amenities are. And that has, as we know, been a major point of contention. There are references, but I don't believe it's the kind of detail that PTSD people from Venetian Bay would like to see. And the other one is, and I know, well, we get finished. Just waiting for a clarification point over here.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and deal with that one while we wait for the possibility of clarification.
The amenity center that they're proposing with a clubhouse building and a pool, that's not a requirement that's listed in the PUD MDA. That's something they're volunteering to do, and we told them whatever you do for amenities, timing is critical. And right now, as far as the PUD goes, it's kind of minimal. It's walking, biking path along Pioneer Trail, children's area with playground equipment, nature trails and walking paths with gazebos and sitting areas, which they do have throughout this first phase and will continue.
I understand, but we've just had difficulty with developers thinking it was a lot more fun to do something else with that land rather than what they had said they were going to. So I'm thinking that some commitment would be helpful. Also, Carrie, while you said that there's no requirement to join the Venetian Bay HOA,
It's not written as a prohibition.
but is there any way that the Shell Point people and Venetian Bay people can be guaranteed that it will not join Venetian Bay?
So
Because I think
that
that's
was
the
my point.
concern.
There's no prohibition. It just says they're not required.
No, I understand. I'm
Right, so
asking-
that's all it says. It doesn't have
And we
you're
have no
prohibited
way
from
of,
joining.
we have no way of saying you are protected from becoming part of the Venetian Bay HOA. I'm asking, because that's a big concern.
If both sides agree, that would be one thing, but they would both have to agree.
Exactly, that'd be the only way, and we've already represented that we're not in the language. And that was specifically why we offered the language we did, because that was what came out of the discussion at Planning Board, that there was no intent on our side to join the HOA. So unless you manage to magically make both sides agree, then there will never be.
It's fine, and you understand what I'm saying.
I
There's
do,
a
I do.
sensitivity and
Yes.
a level of quietude that would come
Exactly.
with
Well,
a guarantee.
And that was exactly why we did what we did, because
Okay.
we wanted to add at least the clarity that we're not the ones engaging this, that we have no intent to do that, and that needed to be put in writing to them.
So, okay. And is there any way we can get kind of a clean delineation of the amenities that would be provided prior to the Phase 3 COs?
Well, the hesitation I have is that, and again, the developer did point astutely out that, suppose for 3 years from now, and as you've seen with the changes in, say, tennis courts, then all of a sudden it turns into a pickleball court. Well, if I tell you tennis court, I can't do pickleball court. And the idea, we're willing to at least give you conceptually what we're doing. That we have a pool, we have a cabana, we have fire pits, outdoor kitchen, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, it's beautiful on paper, but we've had so many people come in and say, this is what they sold us.
Right.
And this is what we've got.
Well, we haven't sold them anything because it's not required.
But you understand what I'm saying?
I understand,
People have
yes.
purchased homes with expectations that we have no way to enforce.
Right. And we're willing to at least give that is the intent. That is what we want to offer. I can't tell you what shape and size that will come, because that's going to be years down the line when that phase comes online, and there may be nuances to the actual amenities that change. You may have a difference in taste, that somebody may want something else
And that's
versus
valid.
something.
And perhaps attorney to attorney, is there any way that we can protect people, any verbiage that can be used to say, we may not know precisely this amenity, but there will be X amenities or some quantitative statement of amenities prior to the COs being issued for Phase 3?
That would be involved with an MDA amendment. We're here on the plat approval, so we're kind of going way astray from what we're here for.
Okay.
Any other questions by Commissioner Martin? Any other commissioner have a question for the applicant?
Joey, your traffic engineer, what's the purpose of Leonardo? Because like the gentleman said, it goes nowhere other than for maintenance access to the conservation area.
I'd love to speak to that. We would not want to do Leonardo Lane. However, it was required in the PUD, so we're having to build the roadway, we're having to extend the utilities and do excess construction that we don't even want to do, but city staff said it's required in the PUD, so we're following the PUD.
Okay.
So we have no control over that. It was in
And then to
PUD.
the other point, during the Planning and Zoning Board, I believe, there was discussion about you have to connect to the other two roads, also by design.
Correct.
But we were going to put temporary barriers in until,
Right, no construction traffic is permitted to go through the south end. Everything's through Pioneer Trail. So the construction traffic comes through Pioneer Trail, and all those connections are made once all the infrastructure is complete. Oh. So, there'll be signage that says, we're not making that physical connection, so I'm not sure what barrier we're talking about.
I've gotten the approval to say we can put barricades. So that is something we're willing to represent and do. But again, it's only until the infrastructure is completed. So, as we had stated that the PD requires it to come online after infrastructure is done for Phase 1, barricades will be removed, but construction traffic will still be restricted and has to come off of Pioneer for the duration of the build-out of the project.
I understand that, but the point I was trying to get to was, it's required by the PUD to connect those roads.
Correct.
Is it also required through fire or traffic engineering that there be a second means of egress? Because if you don't connect those roads, then you have some very long dead-end roadways to the very south. And we do have an ordinance against 300-foot cul-de-sacs. So in essence, we would be violating our own ordinance if we didn't connect.
Well, and I'd imagine that they would be designed in a way that wouldn't prohibit emergency vehicles. So
Right.
that's the
Yes.
intent.
Okay. And just for the other three of you, this was one of probably the first PUDs that Jason and I got to work with after the Coastal Woods thing. And we took into consideration the further setbacks for the garages to where you could put 2 cars in a driveway. You have to be guttered on both sides of the house. The rainwater has to go to the front or the back to eliminate some of the stormwater issues from side yard setbacks and that sort of thing. So we tried, but we don't get everything, so it's a work in progress.
I do have one more point to offer, though, that
You
funny
get
enough.
your chance to make all the closing remarks you
Oh,
want.
I'm
Anybody
sorry.
else?
Apologize.
Okay, so before council gets to do closing remarks, we have 3 minutes until we need the next motion. At that point, we'll have 15 minutes, and then we really will be done. So if we hope to either adjudicate this tonight, we need to keep that timing in consideration. I say that to you, sir,
Yes.
in your remarks, knowing that you'll want to address some of the public concerns, and to advise the commission that we really will be done. Go ahead, sir.
All right. Quickly to tackle questions and then move into the final remarks. Commissioner McGurk, funny enough, we actually do have a 3-car garage parking option for folks on the 65-foot lot. So there is another mechanism that we're trying to address that issue above and beyond what's required in the PD. So, we're trying to do our part. The other aspects that I think we touched on with the roadways, the willingness to attempt to try to mitigate and try to maybe look at that traffic calming, that's something we're happy to look at as long as it doesn't interfere with the driveway placements and interfere with those folks' access to their lots. But we are happy to do that part of this too at those 3-way intersections to try to discourage folks from running the stop sign.
So do you have a problem if there's a motion made with putting in traffic calming tabletops?
To the extent that as long as it's designed around the location of the driveways, we're fine with that.
If the houses were wider,
Right.
it wouldn't be a problem.
And the other points that I think we touched on with Commissioner Martin, that obviously we will look into the rain gardens and the other aspects that you brought up tonight. Again, we want to do this the right way too, moving forward with the additional phases that are coming online. As to again, all the phase 3, a lot of the goodies come in that part. And, again, I don't want to get too off topic because we are here to discuss the plat. And again, to reassure the residents, this is 5 years of process. This is 5 years of looking and having experts try to calculate what your impacts are, how to manage your stormwater, how to address all of the specifics that I know are concerns to them that are just as much of concerns to us. Given that we went through the trouble of doing an amendment to reassure them that we're not trying to join the HOA and undermine their process. And that amendment also includes a monitoring mechanism for both sides' stormwater, which is something that's not contemplated in the PD. That's something we were willing to offer because we're just as concerned as they are about making sure this is done right and that we don't have a repeat of what happened several months ago. Other than that, all our experts have testified as to the specific requirements of meeting the platting requirements, to all the details. And other than those closing remarks, we really try to do the best we could to make sure that we have a great project and something that I know that it may not be 100% what somebody would want to live next to per se, because you see the property a certain way, but you have a developer who's trying to be accommodating and do it the right way. And then I'll defer the rest of my time very quickly to the engineer who wanted to make a quick comment.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify a couple of things too. We talked about wetland impacts. The only wetland impact we have is because of Leonardo Lane, and that number was 0.26 acres. I think I heard 2 acres earlier, but for our wetland impacts, the total wetlands on our plat for phase 1 and 2 is 22.84 acres. We're preserving 22.58 acres of that, and 0.26 acres are the impacts from Leonardo Lane. So I just wanted to get that clarified.
Thank you, ma'am. The chair would entertain a motion to continue to 11 o'clock.
So moved.
Second.
Move in a second. Acting City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perine,
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. We've heard the closing remarks. We hope that you have addressed the concerns of the public. Are there any other comments from the commission before we take it to a motion? Sir, back to Commissioner McGurk's question. Would you be opposed to going on record with a traffic calming necessity and authenticating that the applicant would use traffic calming measures as in the Florida Traffic Calming Handbook to mitigate speed? Great.
The answer is yes.
Okay, perfect. Just one on the record for that. Anything else? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the Shell Point PUD Phase 1 and 2 final plat and construction documents authorizing the mayor to execute the plat for the recording?
Motion to approve with the addition of traffic calming measures.
So stipulated. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Well, we've got the traffic included. Did we also get the no CO on Phase 3?
That's fine.
That wasn't included.
Okay, and what is it you want?
That the amenities will be completed prior to certificate of occupancy being issued on Phase 3 residences.
That agreeable to you, sir?
Yes, it is.
Okay, can we, agreeable
All right, so
to,
add to the motion the comments of Commissioner Martin on certificate of occupancy won't be given until the amenities are completed
for Phase
for
3?
Phase 3.
Very good. Is that what you said yes to, sir?
I think it was close. Just to clarify that, the certificate of occupancy for Phase 3 will not be issued until the amenities contemplated are constructed.
Perfect. Very clear. Okay, Travis, call the roll.
Vice Mayor Hartman,
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes?
Commissioner Perine,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The motion carries. Appreciate everybody's participation and due diligence there. We have 10 minutes and yet one more quasi-judicial to go through. I'm concerned that we will not finish that. And so in consultation with the city attorney, we known to a certain date, a date stipulated, we can conclude the meeting without rushing through this particular topic. Is that the
Mayor,
will of the commission? Yes, sir.
I recommend that we postpone the rest of the items and we spend the next 2 minutes finding a time when we can all meet for the remainder of this meeting.
Very good. And city attorney advises here, it needs to be a date in August that the next regular commission meeting would be sufficient?
We have a few different options. We could reconvene tomorrow. We could tack them on to the July 25th. We could August 8th, but as called, August is going to be lengthy, so we may need a special meeting.
I recommend we don't tack on to an additional meeting. I think we're going to end up doing the same thing. So I'm available tomorrow. I'm not available, obviously, next week in the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday due to the holiday. I'm not available this Friday. I'm available Wednesday and Thursday I can work with. But where's staff at? Where are you guys at?
Just to point out, Mayor, that the
Sir.
city attorney and myself, I will be off tomorrow, and she'll be off tomorrow probably, and the rest of the
Tomorrow's
week.
probably not an option for that?
Well, I could
Well-
have Shay sit in, and if,
Yeah, and Ron is here.
And
so-
Ron can sit here. Okay, very good. That would be for tomorrow. What does that timing look like? Same time, Wednesday evening at,
Yeah, you could,
or 9 a.m. or?
We can do it.
Wednesday.
No, the ordinances have to be after 5 o'clock, so, yeah.
For public participation, likely.
We could do 5 o'clock.
How does that sit with the rest of the commission? Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to reconvene tomorrow at 5 PM, June 28th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman,
No.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes?
Commissioner Perine,
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Very good. Okay, Shane, thank you for staying so late. Sorry we didn't get you in the batter's box here. And,
I do need to go through and
Yes.
read these in continuum.
okay, please do.
Just for legal requirements.
Yep.
The quasi judicial public hearing to consider special exception SE 423 is continued to June 28th at 5 PM in 214 Sam's Avenue, Commission Chambers. Ordinance number 3323, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the Code of Ordinances, amending section 66.3, fees imposed for services to clarify the applicable CPI for refuse and recycling and establishing a 4% minimum increase each year, providing for codification, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date is continued to June 28th at 5 PM and 214 Sam's Avenue, City Commission Chambers. Ordinance number 3423, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach vacating two portions of platted right-of-way in the W.J. Manning subdivision generally located north of Pioneer Trail between Luella Street and North Glencoe Road, providing for conflicting ordinances and providing for an effective date. Continued to tomorrow, June 28th at 5 PM at 214 Sam's Avenue, City Commission Chambers. Ordinance number 3523, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach annexing .64 plus or minus acres of property located on the west side of South Wild Orange Drive, south of State Road 44, addresses 360 South Wild Orange Drive, providing for redefining boundaries of the city, designating the property within Commission Zone 4, providing for public hearing, providing for required filings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. This item is continued until June 28th at 5 PM at 214 Sam's Avenue, City Commission Chambers. Ordinance number 3623, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the comprehensive plan, changing the future land use designation of .64 plus or minus acres of land located on the west side of South Wild Orange Drive, south of State Road 44, addresses 360 South Wild Orange Drive from Volusia County urban low intensity to city low density residential, providing for amendment of the associated comprehensive plan maps to show the area incorporated into the city, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Ordinance number 3723. An ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach rezoning .64 plus or minus acres of property located on the west side of South Wild Orange Drive, south of State Road 44, addresses 360 South Wild Orange Drive, from Volusia County R4A Urban Single Family Residential Airport Overlay to City R2A Single Family Residential Airport Overlay Zoning District, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. This item is continued to June 28th at 5 PM in City Commission Chambers located at 214 Sam's Avenue. Ordinances 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, and 43, and 44 will also be continued to tomorrow at 5 PM at 214 Sam's Avenue in City Commission Chambers. Those have not been advertised, so I do not have to read the title for those.
Very good. Okay, and that reading is sufficient for the record?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you all, and I'm sorry we've run so long and that many that were planning to speak did not get the opportunity to speak tonight. We will make that right tomorrow. With that, we are adjourned.